So I want to start out with a look at the tropics as a whole. So we have 4 systems out in the Atlantic Basin that I am keeping a very close eye on. But before I talk about any of this, I want to give you a reminder we are inching closer to the peak of hurricane season. The peak of hurricane season is going to come around September 10th. So from here on out, the end of hurricane season is November 1st, but that does not mean tropical cyclones cannot develop after that point if it's a season like maybe 2005. I think we had one last season that even came after November 1st. Be sure, have your final preparations if you are along the East Coast, if you are along the Gulf Coast. A system may head your way as we head towards the peak of hurricane season and even after that. So from here on out is going to be your most active point in your hurricane season. Just keep that in mind as we head forward. So let's talk about what we have going on. So we have Tropical Depression Ida. This is likely going to become post-tropical here in the coming days, but it may take a little bit longer than any other system that has made landfall already has, because this made landfall as a Category 4, 7 miles per hour short of being a Category 5 hurricane. So it was even a tropical storm 24 hours after making landfall, which is very unusual. So it takes a very strong hurricane to do that. So anything like that, it is going to take a while for it to die down. Luckily now it is down to a tropical depression, wind speeds around 35 miles per hour, but the pressure is still relatively low. I'll talk about that coming up in just a second. We have our newest tropical storm. We have Tropical Storm Kate out in the Atlantic. It does look like it is just going to push off to the north and not impact any land. So not Bermuda, nothing is going to be impacted by Tropical Storm Kate. It does look like it will eventually move off into cooler waters and eventually die down from the cooler waters. So now we have been watching this for about a week now. It had a higher chance of development last week, but they dropped it back down to a 20. So it looks like it will just remain a cluster of thunderstorms off the coast of Mexico. It may even move onshore in Mexico, maybe impact portions of possibly Cuba. But it does look like it is just going to remain that cluster of thunderstorms and not actually develop into anything tropical. This one, on the other hand, 90% chance of development. This most likely will become Tropical Storm Larry by the end of this week, maybe even into the weekend. But 90% chance of development over the next 5 days. So expect Tropical Storm Larry coming up real soon. So let's talk more about Tropical Depression Ida. All of this cloud cover, all of this rainfall is being influenced by Ida right now. So we are seeing some of those taller clouds, taller thunderstorms into portions of Alabama, portions of Georgia. You see these white flashes right here. Those are thunderstorms. Those are flashes of lightning. So all of this is being influenced by Tropical Depression Ida, almost the entire eastern half of the country. So right now, like I was talking about, wind speeds around 35 miles per hour. The pressure is still relatively low for a tropical depression, sitting just below 1,000 millibars at 999. So some other tropical depressions that we have seen, they were still above 1,000, but they were maybe about 1,012 even one of them was. So a very relatively low pressure for the remnants of Ida. So moving to the north-northeast around 9 miles per hour, and it is sitting around northern Mississippi, and it does look like the center of that storm will push towards portions of Alabama into Tennessee. So let's talk about the track of this. So like I was saying, it is going to be a depression through portions of Alabama. It's going to cut through portions of Tennessee still as that tropical depression. Right around Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon is when we are expecting this to become post-tropical. So right now around 1 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, it does look like it will be a post-tropical cyclone. And like I was talking about, if just because you are not in this cone does not mean you aren't going to see impacts. As we looked at that satellite image earlier, some rainfall is around that and some cloud cover, even way far to the north of that center of low pressure, you are still seeing cloud cover. So just because you're not in this cone does not mean you are not going to see any rain, any cloud cover, any wind. So be sure to not just look at the forecast cone, to look at the actual infrared satellite, look at the reflectivity, and be sure to pay attention to your local officials, so your TV meteorologist, your local National Weather Service, and your National Hurricane Center. So let's talk about the convective outlook. So with all landfalling tropical cyclones, you always have that potential of seeing some strong storms and a few spin-ups in that right front quadrant. So It looks like here in South Carolina, we are going to have a chance of seeing a few brief spin-ups. So mainly in the Midlands and in the upstate, we are at a marginal 1 out of 5 risk of seeing some severe weather. Here in the yellow, so portions of the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, Georgia, and maybe just a little bit into Tennessee, you are going to have a little bit of a higher chance of seeing some spin-ups, sitting around a 2 out of 5 risk at that slight. So anywhere in this dark green or yellow, you are going to have the potential of seeing some spin-ups, maybe just outside of the dark green as well. But your best chance of seeing those isolated spin-ups is going to be in the yellow and in the dark green. We are not expecting a tornado outbreak like we did see in Fred. So here in South Carolina, we had a tornado outbreak during Fred. I will call it a tornado outbreak, but we are not expecting anything close to that. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe less than 10 isolated spin-ups here in South Carolina can be expected, but our highest chance of seeing those spin-ups are going to be right here in this yellow. So taking a look at that tornado outlook, dark green is going to be a chance of seeing those isolated spin-ups, but mainly in this brown is where we are going to be watching for that risk of isolated spin-ups. So let's play this out. So this is sitting about 8 p.m. on Monday. So right now it is around 10 o'clock. I am filming this. So around 8 p.m., most of the moisture, most of the rainfall is sitting around Mississippi, Alabama, and portions of the front portions of Ida is starting to push into Georgia. So some of those rain bands are moving into Georgia. So playing this out through the remainder of the night tonight and into the morning tomorrow, we are going to stay mostly dry here in South Carolina. So this is around 8 a.m., around 9 a.m., my bad, around 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So maybe just a few showers, and just because it is the lower reflectivity does not mean you won't see any thunderstorms. So we may see some lightning within these cells. So any of these cells, any of these rain bands, or anything influenced by Ida may cause a spin up or a strong thunderstorm. So be sure to be on the lookout for any thunderstorms, and be sure to pay attention, have a way to get weather alerts if needed. So we are going to watch this rain band that is going to push through portions of South Carolina. Then right behind it, another rain band is going to push through portions of South Carolina. We are going to start to have the daytime heating, so some stronger reflectivity is going to show up. But like I was saying, just because it's blue does not mean it is not going to pack a punch. So we are not talking about a washout tomorrow. Tomorrow is mainly going to be a day to look out for any spin-ups or some strong to severe thunderstorms. Wednesday, on the other hand, so moving through the rest of the night, so this is around 8 p.m. on Tuesday, moving through the rest of the night on Tuesday and into the morning on Wednesday, you're going to start to see some isolated showers and storms. Wednesday is going to be your greatest shot of seeing that rainfall. So we'll say in the upstate on Tuesday, sitting around 50 to 60% chance of rain, and then in the Midlands about a 30 to 40% chance of rain. But as we head into your Wednesday, about an 80% chance of rain for much of South Carolina. Your PD and your low country, I will call it about a 50% chance, but about an 80% chance of rain for your Midlands and upstate going into your Wednesday. So that is going to be your greatest chance of seeing rain. Not likely going to be a washout once again, but it is going to be your greatest chance of seeing that rainfall. So anyone impacted by Ida down in Louisiana, Mississippi, anywhere that was heavily impacted by Ida, be sure to leave a comment down on my YouTube video if you are watching on YouTube. Leave a comment on my Facebook page if you are looking at it on Facebook. Be sure to let us know that you are okay and update us on the situation as you recover. So enough on Tropical Depression Ida right now. Let's talk about Tropical Storm Kate. Not a very organized storm. Let me go back here real quick. But you can see that center of low pressure sitting right here. So very well-defined center of low pressure, but not a very organized storm. So your wind speeds are just above tropical storm limits, so sitting about 40 miles per hour. Your pressure, once again, tropical storm sitting greater than a tropical depression, sitting at about 1006 millibars. It is moving off to the north about 10 miles per hour, and is sitting at 22.7 north and 50.9 west. So if we track this out, like I was saying, does look like it is just going to push off just out into the Atlantic, eventually moving into cooler waters, should not impact any land mass or anything like that. So it is just going to push off into the cooler waters and probably be done from there. So like I was saying earlier, anyone that was impacted by Hurricane Ida, leave a comment down on my YouTube video. If you're looking at it on Facebook, leave a comment down on my Facebook post. Let us know that you're okay. and let us know how we can help here in South Carolina. And if you are in South Carolina or even portions of Georgia, Alabama, Florida Panhandle, anyone that was in that chance of seeing some tornadoes, some isolated spin-ups, be sure to have a way to get your weather alerts if any tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flood warnings. There are a lot of flash flooding concerns heading through portions of the southeast and even into the mid-Atlantic. So be sure have a way to get any of those weather alerts, tornado, flash flood, severe thunderstorm, anything from Tropical Depression Ida as it continues to move off to the north. I will continue to keep you updated as best as I can, but I will continue to try to keep you updated about what's going on with Ida and what's going on with the 90% chance of development that is likely going to be Tropical Storm Larry. So let us know what we can do to help if you have been heavily impacted by Ida, and I will keep you updated on anything out in the tropics.